Terry Flanagan walked straight through Diego Magdaleno in the second round to retain his WBO lightweight world title. This was obviously a good performance by Flanagan. It was a decisive performance, and he needed it in the eyes of many, because when he won this title, or at the time it was a vacant title, in his last fight against Jose Zepeda, it was in pretty controversial circumstances, with Zepeda having an injury, and it was only, what, the second round, and the referee decided to give the vacant title to Flanagan. A lot of people were a bit caught off guard by that, and a lot of people didn't like it. So it was important for him to have a decisive defense of his title, which he did against Diego Magdaleno. Now, he was much taller than Magdaleno, and he used his height and reach to his advantage. There were two southpaws. Flanagan kept Magdaleno having to come towards him. Okay, Flanagan, you know, kept a decent defense, keeping his jab out there, and he was basically looking for Magdaleno to have to make the first move and then pounce with counters, and that's exactly what he did. Now, Magdaleno did catch him with a few shots here and there, and in fact, the punch which caused the first knockdown, I believe it was the first knockdown from Flanagan, it was preceded by a Magdaleno shot. Magdaleno went to the body with a right jab and came over the top with a left hand. So he was trying to divert Flanagan's attention to the body with the right, and then come over the top with the left. And it actually worked. If you watch back the replay, it actually worked. And the punch, the left hand over the top, does kind of work for Magdaleno. But that left his left side of his body open, and Flanagan came back with a right hook. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I'm sure it was a right hook, which dropped Diego Magdaleno heavily. Now, I have to touch on the situation with Magdaleno's boots, because he seemed to be having trouble gripping the canvas with his boots. I don't want to make no excuses, but this is just something that happened in the fight, so I want to talk about it. And there was even a point, I think it was in the second round, where he slipped so badly that he actually did the splits in the ring. It was a bizarre sight. This guy actually slipped so bad that he ended up doing the splits in the ring. So there may well have been something wrong with his boots. We'll hear what his team have to say about it afterwards. And if you're the shorter guy particularly, and you're having to cut down distance to attack a taller opponent, then having slippy boots is going to be more of a problem than if you're taller than the short guy, or if you're both the same height and you're trying to box rather than cover distance in the ring. So I just want to be totally fair to Magdaleno in terms of his boots. All right. That's not to say he would have won if he had the best grip in the world. I'm not saying that. I just want to be totally fair and objective here. But I also want to be, well, I want to commend the referee, because over the past few years, whenever it's come to foreign fighters fighting in the UK, there's been something which we've come to know as the British stoppage. This is when fighters get stopped very early, either when it's a Brit fighting a foreign fighter and the Brit fighter gets on top, and then they stop it, sometimes without even there being a knockdown or without the opponent seeming to be seriously hurt. Or other times it's a situation where you've got a house fighter who's British and the other guy who's not a house fighter, who may also be British, him getting stopped prematurely by the referee. But in this case right here, Terry O'Connor, the ref, gave Magdaleno every opportunity to recover. He was dropped several times in the second round and he just couldn't recover. The referee gave him every opportunity. Terry Flanagan did a good job of finishing. So there was no funny business. There was no British stoppage or anything like that. It was perfectly legit, no controversy at all. So where does Terry Flanagan go from here? Would you like to see him face off against fellow Southpaw and fellow Brit Luke Campbell? That'd be an interesting fight, because they're actually quite similar stylistically. Personally, I think I'd be favouring Campbell in that fight slightly, but maybe some of you would disagree. Drop your comments below, people. Let me know how you felt about Terry Flanagan's performance and everything I talked about in the video, the possible issue with Diego Magdaleno's boots and how that may or may not have affected his performance. and where you see Flanagan going forward. Should there be a rematch with Zepeda? Would you like to see him fight Campbell or any of the other guys at lightweight? And how do you think he would fare against any of them? All right, drop your comments in the comment section below. It's Hatman, I'm out.